from their encounters with races from other planets. The information is the activation. Let's awaken this world together. We are the forever students, and we will not be silent. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. Pretty wild. Ooh, welcome everybody to Full Spectrum Universe. My name is Rob Yox with the Embattled broadcast from the great state of New York. We are here tonight to talk about something that has been on my mind lately. This could be more of a conversational show, not so much of a presentation, but I want to keep it as an open discussion. So hopefully the comments and everybody's around and we'll get things going and we'll have a good time. But the name of the episode is It's All Predestined, right? I see we got Nancy and Gray Noise here. And it's really wild when we think about what all of it's predestined means, right? We're going to get into that in a minute. So as always, like, share, subscribe. Hello, Nicole. How are you? Leave a comment after this, after the video, so we can beat the algorithmic bugs. I'll tell you, last week's, not last week's, but the last episode we did with the Galactical Zodiac. I see we got Rockers here as well, and Sandy. When we did the Galactical Zodiac, a lot of comments came in that everything is changing, right? And I wanted to kind of piggyback on that in a moment too and talk a little bit more about it. What's going on, Charles? You know, this is one of those times that when we see these things that kind of contradict what we've known for a very long time, it sort of goes against our programming. Now, this was received to Galactical Zodiac very, very well, which is great. And a lot of people were a little confused. They said, well, how does this work now? Now, if you do like your star charts or your birth charts, there's a lot of different Sugar Breeze here, Discogs here, Aaron. Welcome everybody. When we look at these charts or some of these like star charts or birth charts, Alexandria, Jason, good to see everybody. We get confused about how many times our moon is in Taurus and all the constellations kind of come into play. So when we look at the regular 12-point zodiac, it's to the galactical zodiac, the 12-point zodiac is sort of where you were before you started to come into your awakening. But now, because the awakening has caused a change for everybody, the galactical zodiac sort of lends credence to more of who you are now, right? What's going on, Nate? So I just wanted to make that clear. And that's why we can resonate with both of the old zodiac that we were in. And if we move to a new one, you can resonate with both. And a lot of us are starting to take on these multiple roles, right? Having this effect. I think we're lagging a little bit. I don't know what's happening here, but when we have multiple roles, and what that means is when we become an archivist, when we become a healer or an awakened one, we tend to take on more of, a multifaceted approach to helping others gather into that awakening. So, but one of the things that I've been struggling with, and this is, I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable here because it's something that I think about a lot. And that's tonight's episode is It's All Predestined. So where does free will come into play, right? And I kind of wanted to just, really talk about this as and hash it out here on the show. Because if we have free will and everything is predestined, how does that work? They're sort of contradictory, aren't they? And they don't. It doesn't make sense to the fact that if we can choose any path that we want, then how would it all be predestined? And as I sit here and contemplate this specific topic or this specific idea, I tend to think it's maybe it is both. It is both. And I'm going to explain why it's both, I think. And this is something that we're touching on a little bit when we get to like the reality of who and what we are and in this specific reality matrix, right? So we talk about all the time that there's three reality matrices that are kind of vying for position right now, and we're on the one that's like underneath coming up and disseminating the two that are on top that are supposed to keep a polarity to the people. But we chose that third, more independent timeline or that independent reality. Timeline, reality, and soul matrix can all be intermixed because the soul matrix is sort of our energy and where it resides within this timeline or reality. So, we're going to actually get into a little bit of that in the workshop as well. And I'm going to put the link in chat for the workshop. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, there's some tickets available still. Not many, but I would say get your tickets. It's on Saturday. We're right here. And this is going to be one of the most comprehensive. And I know I keep doing this to myself. I'm really setting the standard super high here, but this is going to be one of the most comprehensive, energetic workshops that you probably have ever been to. By the time we finish this first workshop, all the people who attend will be classified healers. Now, where you take that healing after the workshop is up to you, but we're going to go over a lot of the fundamentals that go into that specific healing, but not just healing for yourself, healing for others. And this is why it's important for us to be able to really use the energies that are at our disposal to heal everything. So let's get back to predestined and free will. I believe that there are certain things in the timeline that are predestined. And but I also think that everything is predestined. But when we say it's predestined, I believe that our soul or our consciousness that resides at the fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth density is basically playing this out. And I'm going to tell you how. When we talk about the third density and how the third density is Earth, and then when we get to the fifth density, it becomes Tara, and then the seventh density is Gaia, right? So if we have a portion or a fractal of our consciousness on the fifth density, it essentially sits in the future. And that being so, the free will comes from the seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th position of our consciousness. And it follows the school of thought that because we reside on those specific densities, those aspects of us in those densities are the ones setting up the predestined events that happen to achieve that density, right? So if we're on the third density, which we are, our fifth density is throwing in some certain certain things that happen, right? For the third density to eventually make its way to the fifth density because it is the future. So the free will is here as well, but on a very, very small level. I think that free will bit goes into like what we're going to eat, maybe what time we're going to go to sleep that night, on like the mundane things. But the bigger events are dictated or predestined from our dimensional selves in the fifth, seventh, and possibly the eighth, ninth, and 10th, wherever it may reside, wherever we're getting the moment from, right? And I think that there is a like almost like a checklist, but it's not a checklist. It's like a spiritual list of certain things that have to happen for us to achieve that specific density. So our higher selves and our soul position in the fifth density and the seventh density and the ninth density and the 12th density are dictating these events, and that actually kind of came to me in just now a little bit. And I was pondering this before and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about tonight, but because this is sort of an impromptu show. Really what we're doing tonight is we're trying to promote before the event as well, because I really think that this is going to be some of my best work to date, and I want to make sure that I tell everybody that because it's going to be something. I'm almost positive that we're going to be going over 2 hours. I have about 20 pages of notes already. We have a few charts. I'm going to be sending a document package before the night's event, and it's going to be the night before. Some of it is going to be something that you've seen before. Some of it's going to be some of the things that you haven't seen before. And I'm still contemplating whether I'm going to put my full dialogue or what I'm going to say in that package. I'm not sure yet, but there's going to be a bevel of information, right? It's going to be just a ton of information, even down to exercises to enhance your awareness of energy. That's where we're going to start the event. Is we're going to talk about the practices that we can use, and we're going to go through them in the event as well to sort of harness our energy, and from that harnessing, we're going to go into the more complex ends of energy. This is going to be for anybody who's in any position, whether before their awakening, after their awakening. This is going to be comprehensive for everybody. This is also going to help you with meditation, because this ability to get into our own energetic self and how we do the energy within ourselves, and how it basically, I always say the ebbs and flows, but how it counteracts with our physical, and becoming aware of it is part of this moment of taking it to that next level. So when we do that, we're going to get into some quantum healing. And the quantum healing is going to be tools and such that will make the healing of others much, much easier, And then we're going to get into reality matrix healing, which has a lot to do with deprogramming and kind of giving away some of the stuff that we hold so dear and in our inhibitions. We're going to start the whole event with a meditation of about 2 minutes to clear our energy and clear our mind so the information can be received properly. But yes, this is a freestyle show. So if there is a topic that you would like me to speak on, if I know it, if I'm kind of versed in it, I will be more than happy to address it. Just put it in the chat. We will go through it all pretty crazy. But yeah, this is like one of those things that it it's this contradiction, and we see this a lot, especially in the spiritual community. But these contradictions play out to benefit who we are, right? They're not contradictions for contradiction's sake. They're contradictions because it really does reside in both polarities of whatever we're talking about, right? Like it's just like when we talk about how we are either masculine or feminine in a way of energy, right? But until we achieve that polarity of existing within both at the same time, right? The left brain and right brain, and how we do all that, it becomes this moment where we hit that 0 point and kind of boom, there we are. It kind of brings us to this next level. And, it's going to be absolutely wild when we get into a lot of this stuff too. I think Nate has something here. Let's see what Nate has to say. It says, so there's seven gods of judgment. Enki, the seventh on the council, god of space and time, is the sun. And why is our entire universe electric in nature? And the reason it believes is the nervous system. I'm going to tell you why it's electric in nature, right? Or my belief of why it's electric in nature. It's not just electric, it's magnetic as well. In the beginnings of this universe, which is something we talked about in Galactical Beginnings, we haven't really touched on it in a very long time. So, when this universe started, there was what was called a unity consciousness, right? So, this unity consciousness was playing out all of its like innermost fantasies of, you know, a life, family, friends, experience, whatever it wanted. It was playing it out within itself. And actually, this earth or this whole reality and this multiverse could still be within that unity consciousness playing out its innermost thoughts, right? We'll say it's playing out its innermost thoughts. And what the unity consciousness was doing was building energy, and it was building and building and building energy until the unity consciousness fractured. And when it fractured, it exploded. And I don't mean an explosion like a car exploding. I mean like an explosion that rocked the very foundations of time, space, and the fabric of everything, right? After this explosion, the unity consciousness was split into two. And because of this explosion, the void was also created because of the excess of power that needed to go somewhere. So the two halves of the unity consciousness become the mother and the father. The mother is magnetism, right? Magnetism is essentially where the mother resides in the nurturing points because magnetism is a pull, right? It's a bring towards, it's a nurture, it's a compassion. The other side of that was father who got shot across the other side of the universe, and he was electricity, and he spread the vastness of this universe. So everything within this universe has a touch of father in it because of that electrical expansion across all of it, you know? And mother would eventually catch up when she meets father again. And then mother would spread her energy across the universe with father as father would take her to where he got shot to or sent across. But, when because the electricity is bright in nature and mother is more of a grounded, all of the it's basically all of the things that we say about the femininity of every existing soul on this planet. The father becomes more rudimented and not so much aggression, but more aggressive type of thinking as opposed to a nurturing type of thinking. And from here, this is where Lucifer is created. This is where um, a lot of the existing planets and entities that we know as, you know, uh, extraterrestrials are created, and so on and so forth. And this is kind of like how we get this electrical nature to our universe. And a lot of what we're talking about too is the universe is made up of ones and zeros like a program, but it's really not. It's more sort of an energetic ones and zeros, right? So there's a lot there. And I see Lynn has something that she wants to ask. It says, do I have any thoughts on the 32323? This is coming from the same person that we did the 3-3-23 event for. Um, a lot of people did see a shift in their reality from this. I don't know if doing it over and over again is truly the answer. Um, I think that we should try and create our own moments of collected meditation and establish that foothold in the energetic systems so that we can clear out the negatives and raise the positives. Um, I mean, anybody who's trying to do group meditations, I think, are a good thing. But whenever we do a group meditation, especially in the vastness of how many people are doing these meditations and having these clarion calls, we have to worry about what's being done during them, right? We have to protect ourselves, and that goes along with guarding your own energy. And guarding your own energy is prevalent in meditation. We do this all the time. When we guard our own energy, it's when we talk about that light that center it comes from our center and envelops us all the way around. That's keeping us safe, as well as grounding ourselves by imagining our feet and limbs as roots, and we send them into the ground. And as they go into the ground, they take hold. Therefore, our physical body will never be without an anchor, right? And we won't get lost in the vastness of the astral plane. And I mean, there's a lot that goes with that. I think that we have to look at who's putting this stuff together, and if we trust this person, then I would say partake. I believe that there's a lot more to be done, than just those meditations. Those meditations are a good thing, and we're going to be doing more ourselves. But we have to understand how the energy works, and knowing that our implications, our thoughts, the way that our brain works is inherent in energy is truly the most profound thing, because when we do that, when we start to have these intentions or we start to create these intentions, we are giving energy to that intention. So this is one of the things that goes along with the fact that we have to mind our own minds, right? We have to kind of keep track of what we're thinking all the time, because we will manifest that into reality, good, bad, or indifferent. So I think it is a good thing, but at the same time, I'm not for all that at this moment, because I think there's a lot more work that, especially me, that we all need to do to regulate our energy and make sure that we're doing it in the proper ways, right? So, and again, that's not to say that anybody listening here is not up to snuff energetic wise. If you feel that you are, I can only speak for the self. If you feel that you are, then I would say take part, but make sure that you're guarding yourself in these group meditations. There's a lot that goes on, right? Now, the person calling for this group meditation, I mean, I see that they're doing a lot of good work out there. Um, you know, I enjoy everybody, really. I mean, I don't dislike many people in this community. I don't. And I know that there's a lot of back and forth in this community. I know there's a lot of drama and stuff like that. I just choose not to take part in it. I really don't. It's too much. We have too much work to do to be focused on such frivolous things. Such frivolous things. Who said what? What said who? Who cares? Who cares? We're at a crossroad right now, and we need to maintain our course, because if we get caught up in that BS, then we're lost like all the others. Really, really. That's why if somebody ever came out and said something negative about me, I'd be like, all right, cool. Don't listen, don't like, whatever. Go ahead. There's a door right there, right? And I don't mean I don't and when I say that, I also don't want everybody to agree with me. That's not what this platform is about. This platform is about, you know, this platform is about questioning, questioning everything, even what I'm saying. That's the purpose of this. The purpose is for me to bring the information out. And if there's something that doesn't resonate with you, leave a comment. Tell me I'm wrong. That's okay. I love that. That's a learning moment for everybody. And we can either go over it in certain ways, and we can back it up with information. And that's what this platform is: information above everything. F everybody's feelings, information above everything. Because I think that while we get trapped in our emotions a lot, I believe that the information, if done properly, right, if examined properly, can genuflect past all of that and get to the point of, you know, we're doing what we see is fitting, in the sense that we're not dwelling in those emotions. We're kind of creating the environment for ourselves to just exist and learn. And that's why we call ourselves the forever students. I haven't said it in a long time, but it doesn't mean it still that it doesn't hold true. We are the forever students, right? That's who we are. This is what this is. And with all of this comes all of the individuals that reside within the forever student family. And everybody's going to be different. Everybody's going to see different points of interest and disagree or agree on them. It's all good. It's all good. I love it. I love when people don't agree with me, because what I do is, instead of jumping out the window and be like, "Well, no, I'm the authority here. I'm the one with the show, blah blah blah." No, no. Tell me. I want to hear it. Like, I want to hear from your perspective, because that enlightens me on so many levels, right? And I just love the interaction. I really do. And I love when people say that iron sharpens iron, right? And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to sharpen each other because when we do that and we go out into reality and society and we talk to people, we have legs to stand on with information. Did you know this? Well, why is that? Because of this. And that's the moment, right? That's the moment when you can engage in such a way that people are intrigued by what you're saying. And that's when you've kind of given them food for thought, right? And then you get to also hear their perspective. I can't stress enough how important that is, especially to me. The different perspectives are just because of the way that people are raised, because of the difference in backgrounds and cultures, and that excites me. That excites me, and it's crazy, but it really does. I love. That's why when we have guests on, you'll never see me actively disputing a guest, even if I don't agree with what they're saying. I will jump in as if I'm on board with almost with what they're saying to a sense, because I want to pull the information out of them as much as possible and give that information to the public and in any way we can, and then let everybody else be the judge. I'm just the mouthpiece that pulls the information out. So that's how I feel about that. But there's a lot going on in the community right now too. There's a lot of great people out there doing great research and bringing a lot of stuff to light and different modes of thinking that are just so eclectic and so amazing. And I see it all the time. Even I don't care if the person has one follower, subscriber, or 100,000. There's something to be learned everywhere, right? And I'll listen to those people. And those people, 9 times out of 10, the people with one subscriber will say something in a profound way that just tickles my fancy, right? And you're like, whoa, whoa. I never even thought about it like that. That's incredible, right? And it's it's crazy. It's crazy. That's what I was trying to do the last time in one of the lives. Instead of go see it, Cosmic Age, trying to give a point of view, and you told one of your moderators to kick me out. I never told anybody to kick you out. But here's the thing, too. There's a way to be respectful, and you know, if you're coming into a live to just say, "Oh, I call BS on that," I mean, we have to be a little bit more tactful than that, a little bit more subtle, and it's okay to disagree and voice your opinion, right? But we have to be tactful about it too. We got to pose it in a way that it becomes a question, and that question will weed out some of the inconsistencies in stories. This is how we do that, by examining what they're saying, seeing how it works, and making it in a way that's not aggressive and more, I guess, to the point, but not really. Like, be subtle about it. And I mean, I know if we kicked you out, you wouldn't be here right now, right? Once you get kicked out of a live, you don't come back. It doesn't happen. So I don't believe we kicked you out. And this isn't a community for that. So regardless. And even if you don't agree with what Cosmic Agency is saying, it doesn't mean that there isn't something to be learned there either, right? And that's how I see it. And that'll never change. So again, if if we're gonna take information for information's sake, there's a lot that we have to do to safeguard ourselves from not being led to disinformation as well. And but again, what I could see as information, you could see as disinformation via perspective. So we have to appreciate those perspectives, right? And Mazu, I appreciate your perspective. Trust me. So again, I want to go back to predestiny a little bit, or predestined. When we talk about what this existence is and this specific reality, is the question I want to ask to everybody out there is this your first reality? Have you reality jumped at all? And does at that point, does that predestiny change from reality to reality? Right? I know people who have existed in another reality and now are in a different reality from where they started. So does that predestined path change? That's something I was thinking about too. And I'm like, well, maybe it does, right? And if it does, how big is the variation there, right? How big is that variation? So, there's a lot of really great stuff going on, especially even tonight after this show, Omar is going to be jumping in with Augie again, and that was a lot of fun when I did a reading with them. It was a really great time. So again, if there's anything you want me to discuss specifically, put it into the chat, and I'll tell you another crazy story too. Is my cell phone still isn't working? Imagine that a week later, but I'm actually a little bit happy about that, and I'm gonna tell you because it's a disconnect, right? Because of what I do online with this show and sharing on different social media platforms, my phone is always going, always. Whether it's a phone call, a text message, a social media post, who's saying what, who's doing this, who's doing that. I got to disconnect for a little while, and it was pretty intense. It was pretty intense. You know, Also, we get so accustomed, it's also we get so accustomed to being able to contact anyone and everyone in in that moment, right? In that one moment, boop boop, here goes a text. It's good. But having to sit in yourself and kind of control some of your emotions because you're not able to be in contact at that 24/7 rate is something that we've grown accustomed to, right? With things like Facebook and Instagram. And so I had to kind of maneuver through that too. But again, it sharpened my ability to be like, you know what? I'm going to use my third eye to make contact and see what's going on. I'm going to take this moment, I'm going to look into the astral plane to see where my wife might be, and it's kind of honed my skills a little bit. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I actually enjoyed it when I was the first couple of days was like it was rough. It was absolutely rough because you're so used to that, Oh, let me pull it out. Let me see what's going on. So, but you get used to it after about 3 or 4 days, and I'm so excited for this weekend. I really am. And this is again, this show tonight was just us trying to catch up a little bit, seeing if there's any questions that we had out there because we don't I don't address the chat enough, and I'm sorry for that. I really am. It gets really crazy when I'm into the presentations and reading what I've written down and things like that. So, oh, he may be on his way back from a long road trip. It says he's got a show going on tonight. When somebody says that, let's see what Karen had to say. Rob, I have heard about the high Vecca codes. Are you familiar with what these are about? Now, are these quantum codes, like quantum healing codes? Is that what the high Vecca codes are? Because I might be giving some of those out in over the weekend when you get the packet if you're coming to the event. Um, I have a laundry list of quantum codes that are going to be used to heal everything, anything. And, I have to put a disclaimer in it when we do it because it's for, you know, I can't say that it is the cure all or anything like that. I can say that these are effective in um, opposing certain ailments, right? And it gets kind of crazy. These codes that are just absolutely insane. And when you see this laundry list that I've put together of these codes, you're just going to be like, what in God's name? This guy is going crazy. I'm telling you, it's going to be some of the most We're going to be talking about different aspects of quantum healing. Like quantum healing is a specific definition, right? It's a specific definition, but there are tools to enhance the quantum healing. We're going to go over all of them. And that's one of the things that's great. That's common sense hit it right on the money here. What throws people off their path is old beliefs and other people's teachings. That's, this is another thing that I find myself seeing people saying, "Hey, you're a really great teacher." And I'm not sure I'm okay with that. Right? I want to be your friend. I want to be somebody who gives you information. But I'm not sure if I'm teaching you. What I want you to do is I want you to take the information that's relevant to you. And then from there, you expand it yourself. So I'm just kind of showing you a path or a mode of thinking. But I don't want to ever tell you to be thinking that way. That's for you to decide. So, in a way, I'm teaching the information, but I'm not a teacher, right? So, I don't know. I don't know. We're going to be doing a separate event when we go back to the energy healing for vibrational frequency, tone frequency, and you know, uh, frequency activating frequency healing, right? It's good. I got a lot in there, but one of the things I want to talk about too is quantum levels, like quantum spaces. So when we're in meditation, we get to see like the quantum realms, which is going to be a lot of fun too, because some of those quantum realms are just out of this world. I'm telling you, this is going to be some of my most comprehensive work. I can't say that enough. I really can't. But it's okay, Selena. I'm just glad you made it. I'm glad you made it. So, going through what we're going to be going through over the weekend, I have to say to everybody, do a little bit of meditation beforehand. Make sure you get enough sleep. It's going to be a little late in the evening. It's going to be 9 to 11 Eastern Standard Time, 6 to, I think it's 6 to 8 Pacific Standard Time. Wherever you are in the world, it's going to be different. But get some good sleep, rest your body. We're going to be practicing a lot of different techniques and we're going to go through those techniques. And then I want feedback from the audience in those techniques too, because I'm telling you, it's going to spark a lot. It's going to spark a lot. And Reiki is a derivative, I believe, of, it's a mode, like it's a shamanistic mode of healing, but I believe it's very similar to quantum healing too, you know. And quantum healing, if you already know Reiki, you're going to be able to piggyback off of the Reiki into quantum. And that quantum is going to be, it's going to quantifiably make it that much more intense. But we're also going to talk about safeguardings, right? Safeguardings to not deliver all of your energy. We're going to talk about misconceptions of healers and certain healings, right? Hello, Adela. And glad you made it, Selena. And Rainwater, good to see you. Genergy, great to see you as well. We're going to be talking about it because there is misconceptions, and I want to make sure that we're coming from a clear and pertinent place. We're also going to have breathing exercises and techniques to talk about to enhance the energy output as we go through the workshop. I'm telling you, I've gotten the full compass of what we're doing while healing, from basic energy exercises without jumping into the quantum, to the quantum side of it, but also to the reality matrix. The reality matrix and the quantum are very, very connected. They're very connected. And when you're working with quantum energy, you're working within the reality matrix as well, because it's not just the energy from inside of you, it's also thought, it's also speech. There's a lot that goes into it, and we have to be cognizant of all of that to enter into this healer landscape. And one of the things that you're going to be able to do is when you leave the event, you're going to have these points of interest, or these functions, and these in the practices. We're going to give you a list of practices and how they work. We're going to give you a list of codes. We're going to give you a list of what you need to do to go out there and heal anyone and everyone who will give you a shot at healing them. That's going to be the best part, to see the ripple effect from this workshop. And then the other workshops are going to be a derivative of this first workshop. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't jump into the second, third, or fourth workshop without seeing the first one. On the contrary, you can jump into any one by itself, but together it's going to be a complete, comprehensive package of all the different healing and energetic modalities that I can find, truly, that I can find. So I'm not going to keep everybody too long tonight because, again, this was an impromptu. I'm going to throw the link one more time up. If you haven't gotten your ticket for the energetic workshop, do so. Do so. Now, for those of you who did purchase tickets, the link that is going to be sent to you days before is the proper link. There were certain functions on the first link that weren't encompassing the totality of the streaming platform. So the new link is being sent out all over, right? And Stone, I want you to contact me on Facebook after this. I got to ask you a question and talk to you about something. But this new link is going to have all functions open. So keep a lookout if you purchased a ticket. You're going to get follow-up emails 24 hours, 2 hours, and when it starts. It'll be within all of those emails. So you're not going to miss it, right? So with all that being said, I hope everybody found this, a fun time. This was sort of a more laid back sort of more of a laid back, my Facebook is Rob Yox, or it's in the description. You can go to Full Spectrum Universe on Facebook as well. Um, it's just a little bit more of a laid back episode. We kind of just, sh- you know, talked it up. That's really what we did. We had a good time. Give you a little bit more of my day to day personality, not my presentation personality. I know I must seem like the most boringest dude in the world because when I get into those presentations, I'm just talking and talking and talking and talking. You don't really get to, like, I don't know, a little bit of me shines out, but not the full totality of me. See, like, Stone has done some of the events with us, and Stone knows what I'm like off camera. I'm all right. I'm a fun guy. I'm a fun guy. But so, with all that being said, please leave a comment after this stream is over to help us boost the algorithm. Um, I love you all. I want you all to know that, and I'm here rooting for everybody. Let's get this done together. We can do this, right? And I hope everybody has a great rest of the evening, and I will see you all on the other side. Have a great night.